What is up? This is your Desert in a Minute. And with all the famous names that have graced the desert throughout the years, it makes sense that some of the dining options are every bit the headliner as some of those notable personas. In fact, some restaurants have thrived for generations. So what are, in fact, the 5 oldest restaurants in the desert? Let's get into it. Number 5 is Sherman's Deli, which was opened by Sherman Harris in 1966. Sherman Harris was born in Wisconsin and joined the Army, where he fought in 5 major battles, including the Battle of the Bulge. After he left the service, he moved with his family out to Palm Springs in 1953. He joined his friend Al Laurie, who had opened a steakhouse called Laurie's Steak Ranch, and Sherman Harris learned the ropes of the restaurant trade. He kept a close eye on all facets of the restaurant, but most importantly, he learned to butcher meat, something that would come in very handy for his next ventures. 1959, he opened his own steakhouse, Sherman's Steakhouse, and it became an immediate hit in Palm Springs. Sherman's Steakhouse was a hit, and by 1966, he went on to open a combination diner, restaurant, and deli known as Sherman's Delicatessen. Sherman's Delicatessen was a hit for celebrities, tourists, and residents alike, and it's thrived in Palm Springs for the last 57 years. 4th oldest restaurant in the desert is La Cazuelas, which has been open since 1958. The restaurant was named after the family matriarch, Maria Fajardo, an immigrant from Mazatlan, Mexico, to the Arizona desert during the Great Depression. When her husband passed away, she started making these special burritos out of earthenware pots called cazuelas, and they became so famous that she opened a cafe. In 1958, Fajardo's son Florencio and his wife Maria brought these authentic recipes to Palm Springs, where they opened up their restaurant, Las Cazuelas. 65 years later, Las Cazuelas remains one of the most renowned Mexican food restaurants in all the desert, and it looks pretty much identical to the day it opened. The 3rd oldest restaurant in the desert is the Copper Room in Yucca Valley, which opened in 1957. The story of the Copper Room begins with Dr. John Bendall, who was struggling to reach a patient who had had a stroke and decided that he needed a private airport in the desert, and he decided to construct the airport himself, and he built a dining room called the Copper Room. For years, the Copper Room was a place to be, especially for the Rat Pack, who often flew in and out of the airport. There was dancing, there was drinks, there was revelry, and seasoned pilots would love flying into the airport with the continuous live music, cold martinis, and dancing under the stars. Today, the Copper Room still remains one of the most unique and fun places to grab a drink and watch the planes take off and land. 2nd oldest restaurant in the desert is Keaty's Fountain and Grill, which was opened when Highway 111 was 1 lane in each direction in 1957. Opened by Bob Keaty and Patty Downs, it became a local landmark known for its pancakes, shakes, and burgers, and a place where you could get a cup of coffee and catch up on the local news. In fact, the milkshakes were so good that it was popular amongst the actors and crew on It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And by the way, that's the restaurant that inspired In-N-Out to start using the crossed palm trees. As Palm Desert grew, Keaty's remained the same, and it was a slice of home for many of the residents of the area. In 1999, one of the regulars, David Chapman, actually bought Keaty's, and he's retained the same old-time charm that has made Keaty's a favorite and the 2nd oldest restaurant in the desert. And the oldest restaurant in the desert is Burger Box, which dates back to 1954. George Mitchell, originally from Minnesota, who became a mess sergeant in World War II and washed dishes on his way going back and was going to head to Georgetown, ended up moving to Palm Springs to start a joint venture with a friend. His friend had a plot of land on Highway 99, and 19-cent burgers were all the rage in Southern California at the time. So on that plot of land, they'd open a Rocket service station and a Burger Box drive-in. Mitchell bought out the friend and ran the business while teaching French at a local high school and 2 middle schools. And in 1970, he was elected to the school board of Desert Sands Unified, where he spearheaded the National School Lunch Program. Mitchell remained at Burger Box until his passing in 2021, but he was able to see Burger Box become the oldest restaurant in the desert. All right, desert, it's been a minute.